Hi everyone, I'm Evangeline here at eTrailer. Today we are taking a look at the RockyMounts GigaWatt electric bike rack. We're seeing how it fits here on our 2024 Leisure Travel Unity Motorhome. This is going to be a really good bike rack for those extra heavy electric bikes. We are currently using a hitch extension. So this right here is adding 8 inches of length, and that's from hitch pinhole to hitch pinhole, and 4 inches of drop. Now the owners of this motorhome use this with their different racks as well as with their tow bar because their hitch sits pretty deep into their bumper. So for most racks you are going to need some kind of extension. I personally recommend one that goes straight across, but a drop isn't that bad either. And if you have a mountain bike or long handlebars, you also have to consider the length and clearance issues there. This, with the 31-inch long handlebars, I would prefer a little bit more extension. That way we have more clearance. Also, no matter what extension you do use, I'd still recommend trying to put some type of padding, like a pool noodle. That way when you are driving around, and if there is movement, you're not banging into the back of your motorhome. So just another thing to look out for. The next thing is that the RockyMounts GigaWatt does have different rated weight capacity depending on the distance from the rear axle. We measured our hitch pinhole to be about 85 inches from the center of the axle, meaning our bike rack now has a 60-pound weight capacity. And you're also going to need to use the RV bolt included with the rack. And that's pretty much the overall most important things you need to know about this rack when using it with this specific motorhome. So let's move on with how this rack actually works. I like the design because this is going to be a front wheel mount routed rack. Compared to other bike racks that have a ramp, this is going to be a lot easier to load and unload. Plus it has a lot of versatility for what types of bikes you get to carry, rather than having to worry about a frame mount that can potentially scratch up or damage the finish of your bike. This is going to be great. And even if you have fenders, you also have extra fender straps. I am a little bummed that we are now downsized to a 60-pound weight capacity. That's what this extra strap is here for, just to give that extra stability. But 60 pounds is still pretty good. When you need to take your bike off, you do remove these straps first. There's going to be one on the front wheel and another strap on the rear wheel. This one is activated with a lever, and this kind of ratchets down to secure the rear tire. Or when you bring this up, you just slide the strap out of the way. This strap slides in order to accommodate different wheelbases. The maximum wheelbase you can carry with this is going to be up to 55 inches, which is pretty impressive for those longer bikes. And before we take off that front wheel mount, let's attach our ramp. And this ramp is included with the rack. It is very lightweight and easy to carry around. This does not store on the rack though, so you are gonna have to figure out where in your motorhome you can store it. I would store it in the nearby basement door, just for easy access. This goes onto the end of the tray, just like that, and it drops down in place so that you can now ramp your bike down. To do so, what I like to do is I like to hold on to the bike rack, or to the bike, as I press this lever, and then lift up on the hook, and then we're going to bring this hook down, and then we're going to ramp our bike down. So you can see here that because that ramp or the tray tapers down, it makes it a lot easier to roll your bike up and down the rack. With that having a 60-pound weight capacity, or on other vehicles an 80-pound weight capacity, this can be very helpful for this extra heavy bikes. With the bike off and the hook back into position, let's take some measurements to see how much space this will take up behind your Unity motorhome. Now again, remember you do have that 8-inch extension. So measuring from the bumper to the end of the rack, this measures at around 36 inches. Now that's a measurement to keep in mind if, let's say, you have limited parking space, or when you do store your motorhome, it's limited space there. Now another measurement is going to be ground clearance. Again, keep in mind that we are working with a 4-inch drop. So from the tray to the ground, I have it at around 19 inches. That's gonna be about the same as the end of the rack to the ground. So if you go up steep inclines like hills or driveways, then we have so much clearance here, I'm not too concerned about bottoming out. That measurement is also helpful to know how easy or how difficult it will be to get your bike up there. But we saw there that with the ramp, it worked perfectly fine. With that being said, I would still recommend getting your straight extension, not something with a rise or a drop, because that ramp helps out even if your bike is higher up. Also, because it is on the motorhome, it has that RV bolt tightened down, and we did see it earlier in this video, but that RV bolt does prevent folding up the rack or tilting it away while bikes are on. Fortunately, there isn't any basement door here or gas cap like some other motorhomes have, so you really shouldn't need to get access back here. But on the downside, this cannot be folded up into the compact position without taking out that bolt. If you're curious about any of its other features, check out the full demo here at etrailer.com. But today it was nice to see that most of the things looked great here on our motorhome. As long as you have the proper extension, you're mindful of the weight capacity. I really like the front wheel design of this rack because the other comparison for bike racks with ramps are going to be the Hollywood Racks Destination E or the Yakima On-Ramp LX. Both of those other racks do have a higher weight capacity when used on motorhomes, and they have the ramps. However, they are frame mount racks, meaning it is a little bit more effort getting the bikes loaded on there. Compared to the RockyMounts GigaWatt, super easy just to ramp the bike on, secure it, and you're done. I am a little disappointed with the 60-pound weight capacity, but also when you do have that extension on, you are working with less weight capacity anyways, so this will help prevent overloading your hitch. So it does really depend on what you are prioritizing, what you're looking for out of a rack, something that's easy to use, relatively affordable, and has a ramp included. This right here was a look at the RockyMounts GigaWatt 2 bike rack, and you saw it on the 2024 Leisure Travel Unity Motorhome.